Cynthia. With the release of Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, the Sinnoh League champion is without a doubt the strongest trainer in the entire franchise. And a really interesting overlooked fact about her is that, like Dawn, Gen 4's protagonist, Cynthia is actually from Twin Leaf Town. So this implies that Cynthia wasn't always the powerhouse we know her to be. And in fact, it's likely her experience through the Sinnoh League was very similar to ours. So that then begs the question, how did Cynthia do it? And would it be recreatable? Can you beat Brilliant Diamond and Cynthia along with it using nothing but the Pokemon on Cynthia's team? So to begin this challenge, we picked the blonde-haired female character and named ourselves Cynthia and began our journey in Twin Leaf Town. From here, we're taken to Lake Verity, and because the game forces us to take a starter, I decided to go with Piplup, but don't worry, he wouldn't be staying on the team for very long. Yeah, guys, this is just a shiny Gibble. Don't worry, it's fine. So from this point on, we just had to get through the tutorial section of the game and to the first route that actually had a Pokemon that Cynthia uses. Fortunately for us, that's not far at all. Badou, which eventually evolves into Roserade, can be found on the third route in the game. So we made a mad dash past Jubilife City and went searching for one. You know, it's really interesting to think that Cynthia's first Pokemon was actually probably her Roserade and not her beloved Garchomp. It's cool to think that maybe she caught it on a trip to Jubilife City when she was a kid or something. So anyway, we quickly found one, caught it, and the challenge officially began. All right, let's go for it. Caesar. And this is exactly where we ran into our first issue. Realizing Badou was pretty underleveled, I wanted to train it up a bit, but I was impatient and I ran straight into a trainer battle. Fortunately for us, Lacera only has a Bidoof, and it wasn't a terrible fight. Badou, or should I say Caesar, has the Poison Point ability, and what this does is when I take physical damage, there is a chance that it will poison the Pokemon. That, in unison with the healing damaging move Absorb, was enough to make light work of it. But further on this optional route was Last Samantha, and this was a different story entirely. Turns out, we encountered the worst possible Pokemon we could encounter, another Badou. Now, if I had literally any other Pokemon, this would not be a problem. The problem here is twofold. First of all, Badou's only move is Absorb. It's a low damaging move to begin with, but at this point it was literally doing 1 damage a hit. Now, sure, 1 damage, I mean, yeah, you can eventually grind down a super low level Badou, and you'd be right, except that this Badou also has Absorb. I would hit it, do 1 damage and heal 1 damage, and then it would hit me, do 1 damage and heal 1 damage. Oh no! I tried using Growth, which took my special attack up 6 stages, and at this point it was still only doing 2 damage. So I did what all pro trainers do. I wasted down my PP all the way until Caesar only had Struggle, and then I one-shot it. 30 minutes later, and we were finally done our first route. So at this point, things were looking pretty bleak. Like, if it took 30 minutes for me to beat a single level 4 Badou, getting to Rourke, the first gym leader, was going to take hours. Sure, in most cases, Badou was okay, but it's still a baby Pokemon with really low stats. And so any fight with a poison or a grass type, which is the most common typing in the early game outside of normal, was going to take hours. Fortunately, this happened. Oh, Lex has caught a level 15 Gibble. I'll get an egg quick. The man's.
I got an egg. I got a level 15 female Gibble. Perfect.
Whoa. I'm living with some other YouTubers right now, and my good friend Mr. T-Lexify had just beaten his own playthrough. Seeing me stuck on the Badou, he went out of his way to catch a level 15 Gibble, breed it, and was then waiting in a trade room for me after the fight. And while I was a little apprehensive as whether some people would consider this to be cheating, I decided to go for it. As a kid, it was always one of my goals to start a game with a pseudo-legendary and play all the way through with it. And while yeah, Garchomp is one of the best Pokemon in the game, Gibble really is not very good. So to me, this really didn't feel unfair. It was gonna make the playthrough more interesting, and if anything, it's way more on brand for Cynthia. So I traded my shiny Gibble for his egg, and he threw in the level 15 Gibble just for good measure. So with my running shoes on my feet, I set out to hatch it. Now because Gibble is in the highest hatch rate, this should have taken 10,000 steps. But for some reason, at around 6,000, it hatched. Is this gonna be the right Pokemon? I hear Lex in the other room just going, oh no. I don't really know what happened here. Lex bred a female Gibble with a male Lucario, and somehow that came up with a Riolu. I was a little bit confused, but given the fact that Riolu is also part of Cynthia's team, I said, you know what? let's go with that too. This, in fact, was not going to make the game easier at all. Because I now had to use the traded Gibble, it already wouldn't obey me. Like, sure, it was level 15, but it literally wasn't going to obey me until I finished the second gym. But at this point, it was the best we could work with, so we set off to take on our first true rival battle. No music. Wow, Pokemon battles without music are weird. This is so awkward. Is this what we play? Is this what gives us happiness? This is what we do with our life? Nice. We can get through this. There it is. So even without Gibble, you're probably thinking at this point, gee, this has got to be pretty easy now. And that's kind of what I was expecting. But trust me, it wasn't. Sure, Lucario is a tank, but Dorito, the Riolu, is, you guessed it, also a baby Pokemon. Not to mention extremely underleveled. So while I was expecting the road to Rourke to be easy from here on out, it really wasn't. Dorito was so frail she could barely take a hit, and unless it had a type advantage, Caesar could hardly land a shot. But through a bit of strategy and luck, we did make it to Orber City, and we were ready to take on the first gym leader. And actually, considering what we had just been through, I was feeling pretty good. I shouldn't have been. Dude, that... Oh my god, am I way too overconfident right now? Are we gonna lose? I thought this was gonna be a walk in the park, guys. No speed, no. Oh my god, we're actually a terrible team. Yep, not even a level 15 Gibble was enough to save us, and Rourke decimated my team. First whiteout. I realized at this point that if we were going to win, it was all up to Badou. This time, we started with a growth to bulk up Caesar's moves, and despite taking a shot, the one-shot absorb was enough to heal it all the way back up to full. With another 4x weakness, Onyx was no match either, and Rourke even wasted his potion on it. From here, it was down to the King of Salad and Rourke's ace, Granados. It leered, my absorb didn't do quite half. It leered again, and with the lowered defense, Caesar was in guaranteed one-shot range. But through the power of luck, Caesar hit a crit and put that fossil back in the dirt. Gym 1 was done. No Gibble needed. Now from here, we headed north and defeated the Team Galactic members at Valley Windworks. After the first gym, you get the move Rock Smash, and we gave that to Dorito. Although it's normally a pretty weak move, anytime a Pokemon uses a move that it shares a type with, like fighting in this case, that move's damage is increased by 50%. Same type attack bonus, or stab. Now Riolu did have Metal Claw, but reminder that Lucario is the only steel type in this line, so this was a big addition to the team, especially against Commander Mars's Perugly. From here we headed north, and it was time to catch the last easy find of Cynthia's team. Shellos. Shellos is located on Route 205, and you literally just need a Pokeball. You just catch it. I'll tell you now, Feebas and Spiritomb were not going to be this easy. We found one, chat named it Clarence, and our team was one Pokemon stronger. On the downside, this was not going to be of any help for the next gym. We arrived in Eterna City, and I introduced my blonde self to the real Cynthia. Probably a good thing she didn't look at my team, because she would have then realized I was a psycho stalker. But from here, it was time for gym number 2. And guys, I think I might be the first trainer in the history of Sinnoh to seriously struggle on not just the second gym, but even its junior trainers. Besides the Cynthia fight itself, this was the hardest section of the game. Our newly acquired Clarence was a water type with water and ground moves, so everything in this gym rightfully decimated it. Gibble was off the table because it only had a 25% chance to obey me. Literally everything in this gym would just set up leech seed strats to make my inconsistent hits negligible. We already know what happens when you put a Badou up against other grass Pokemon, so this left us with Dorito, a baby Pokemon that could hardly take 2 shots without dying. Now at this point, it's also probably worth noting that I put in a self-imposed rule. So I thought I would add the challenge of no grinding until we got to Cynthia. The reason I say that here is it leads into our next problem. While Riolu was struggling in this gym, Lucario certainly would not. So Riolu evolves from a friendship evolution, and because Dorito joined the team at level 1, she was actually on the edge of evolving. But with the no grinding rule, the only way we were going to get Lucario was against trainer battles. The only battles left were in this gym. The gym that could 2-shot Dorito, and Dorito being the only Mon that could actually fight. Guys, I won't lie, this was an absolute mess. Dorito fainted in every single battle, and at that, our shot at getting an early Lucario was was gone. It was down to Riolu to face Gardenia alone. At least I thought. So I sent out Riolu with the intent of setting up workups. This raises both of its attacks, so theoretically, with enough stalling, the plan was to get Riolu to be able to one-shot everything. And then this happened. Oh, never mind. It has Dazzling Gleam in this game? Please one-shot. No! Yeah, so this thing had Dazzling Gleam. Basically like the thunderbolts of fairy moves. With Riolu absolutely wrecked, our only other shot was Gibble. And for the first time, our dude actually showed up. Gibble hit 5 moves in a row, and not even that was enough to take down the Turtwig, let alone the Roserade. We basically ended up in a Badou versus Roserade stalemate, with the Roserade ultimately coming out on top. One step further from Lucario, and no gym badge. Yikes. But I had one more trick up my sleeve. This time I started the fight with Caesar. I used Growth, which raises my special attack 6 times in a row to make this the beefiest Badou you've ever seen in your life. On top of that, Cherubi and Turtwig are pure grass Pokemon. Rather than doing a quarter of the damage like against the Badou, it was only doing half. From here, the roided up Caesar went to town on both these Pokemon, and we even managed to flush all of her potions. So this was it. Badou versus Roserade. Round 2, but this time, Caesar was on that secret juice. I still don't know if we can beat this, honestly. Now, this was enough to flush the Citrus Berry before succumbing to the Roserade's overwhelming might, but let's be honest, this was never Caesar's fight. He went down, and then Shello followed right after. From here, it seemed like Gibble was my only hope. In a brilliant moment of luck, it hit a bulldoze, but not even a pseudo baby was enough to take on a fully adult Roserade. Yes! Come on. Oh, no. Ladies and gentlemen, this was it. Riolu, the frail baby, destined to never evolve, had the most anime moment of its life. So here we go. Crit. Oh! We actually did it with a team of babies and a disobeying Pokemon. And there it is. That would have been really nice 8 seconds ago. This is like the funniest, best thing that could ever happen. That's it. Riolu took on its biggest fear, and in doing so, it was enough experience to evolve it into a Lucario. From here, things were about to get a whole lot better. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. With a fully evolved Lucario, the midsection of the game was about to get really easy. Gameplay-wise, that is. But now, I was facing another challenge, catching Spiritomb. So in the original games, to catch Spiritomb, players needed to talk to 30 people in the underground. There was an exploit though. You could basically just hop into a session with a friend, talk to them 30 times, and boom. Spiritomb, one of the coolest Pokemon in Gen 4, was there for the easy catch. Not in the remakes, however. In Brilliant Diamond, they changed it, so you have to talk to 32 unique roaming NPCs. So how the mechanics of this new system works is there are 35 total unique areas in the entirety of the underground, all the way across Sinnoh. Each of these 35 areas hosts a specific NPC. And after beating Gardenia and getting your Explorer Kit, you can access about 60% of this, which works out to about 20 of the available 35 unique NPC spawns. But to get the other 15 unique areas, you need to progress in the game. The next locations are found in Celestic with only one other NPC, and Snowpoint. The final area is walled behind Cynthia, locked away in the battle zone. Because of this, most people then assume that Spiritomb can't be found until the post-game. This, however, is false. It's just really hard. On top of the whole dedicated NPC spawn, every tunnel has roughly a 1 in 10 chance to spawn a completely random different character. And that can be one from literally any area of the underground, even the ones locked away in the post game. So to put this super basic, to get Spiritomb, all you have to do is go in and out of a single area until you get that lucky 1 in 10 roll. From there, you just have to hope you're lucky enough that it's an NPC you haven't talked to already. You see what I'm getting at? It's not impossible, it's just painstakingly slow. But hey, if the real Cynthia can do it, surely we can too. Now, the first bit, as expected, wasn't too bad. I explored for about 2 hours and was able to get over 15 unique NPC conversations. I then headed back to Orber City, which gave me access to another underground location, and that put me up to around 22. So after 3 hours, we had banged out the easiest part of it, and for my own sanity's sake, I decided to get on with some more progression. And yeah, getting back to the gameplay, it turns out Like, if you guys can believe it, Cynthia has a really well-balanced, dynamic, and powerful team, even without the full Evos. With the second badge, Gibble would now obey us up to level 30, and he then quickly evolved into the very solid Gabite. Our Badou evolved into Roselia not too far from here. They grow up so fast, and Shellos wasn't too much later. With the TM Psychic added to Lucario, the third gym was a cakewalk, and the rest of our group was able to absolutely devastate Crasher Wake's water team. At this point, things were going really well, and I decided to celebrate. I thought, hey, I have Cynthia's hair, Cynthia's name, Cynthia's team, time for Cynthia's wardrobe. Fansima, 5th gym leader's ghost types were no match for even a fraction of Cynthia's power. And from here, I headed east to Canalave City and showed my rival why he should give up on his pitiful dreams of becoming a Pokemon master. I then checked out the Steel Gym, and what I saw was actually something that made me fearful: ground moves. Ground moves everywhere. This gym is literally comprised of 90% Onyx and Steelix. Onyx with Bulldoze, Steelix with Dig, Earthquake on the gym leader's team. And you know, while the rest of the team was really finding itself, gotta be honest, like Lucario was still pulling a lot of our team's weight. And as it turns out, Earth moves are bad for Dorito's health. So at this point, we had made some progression, and I thought I'd try my luck at getting Spiritomb again. Things actually went really well. In an hour and a half, we found 8 more NPCs, bringing our total up to 30. I thought it was easier than most people were making it out to be. It turns out I just got lucky, because at 30, all of the sudden, everything dried up. Even after another hour of off-screen mining, I was just not able to get the rolls I needed. And this scared me, because if any of you guys watched Small Ant's Pokedex run on this game, he also got stuck at 30, and the 2 trainers he needed were locked in the post game. At this point, I was literally questioning if everything I had thought was false. I was scared. And so I did what every scared person does. I ran from my problems. I got on a boat, headed north to a remote island, met some weird dude in a cool suit named Riley, and started an animal fighting ring. Okay, well, I mean, like, kind of, I guess. We headed up to the Iron Islands in search of the Shiny Stone. And after a bit of leveling up and Team Galactic beatdown, we found it. We used it on Caesar, and Roserade joined our party. We then did a whole bunch of really boring Team Galactic stuff, which I basically would have considered a Lucario training session, and we made our way, finally, up to Snowpoint City. Now, this was a major stepping stone, because finally again, Snowpoint City unlocks another section of the underground. And who would have thought? But this area actually had 2 NPCs we needed. It took less than 15 minutes to find them, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, we had 32. Meredith! That was so easy! So, we flew back to Herd Home City, placed down the odd keystone, and activated the post-gameplay only Spiritomb encounter. Oh, I hope I did this right. Yes! Gym 6 Spiritomb. Let's go. Let's go. Anyway, Chad named it Cheese, and that took us up to 4 out of 6 Pokemon. Now, I know level 25 Spiritomb wasn't going to do much, but after the 4 successive wins I had just had, I was feeling really hot and ready for gym number 7. And I died. Yeah, so this wasn't really like my team problem. I was just way too overconfident, and I got wrecked by Aurora Veil Abomasnow. So for my horrific actions, I gifted a sub, I got serious, and the rematch was a breeze. With that, ladies and gentlemen, we had nearly conquered the Sinnoh League, our rival had been turned into a joke, and Team Galactic was but an inevitability. You like this setup? Probably about to say, oh no, something was about to go crazy wrong, like Militic, because it's super hard to catch, right? Well, yeah, that was the plan for this whole setup. Feebas was really easy, actually. For those of you who are unaware, Feebas can only be found in one specific cave with a fishing rod in one giant pool that covers like 400 blocks. And of all those blocks in that specific cave, it only spawns on 4 of them. Changes every single day, and for most people, it's a huge issue. I would say on average, takes anywhere between 1 and 3 hours, depending on how lucky you get. And I had every expectation to do just that. I set up stream, got my old rod, and I started fishing. And then a viewer dropped something into my Twitch chat. Bro, what? This guy literally found it on his first tile. So basically what I had just been sent was a surefire method for catching Feebas. I was hesitant, but I figured if it could save 3 hours of my life, I was worth giving it 5 minutes. Basically what it said you had to do is head to the Jubilife Casino and write down your lottery number. From here, you enter a website and it tells you where Feebas is in the cave. I don't know how it works, but... Oh! What? Yep, took all of 6 minutes. I get it if you want to call this cheating. In my opinion, I wouldn't. The thing is like, this is only saving you time, not really getting you the Pokemon for free. Like, I was gonna get it one way or another. This way, I didn't just waste 3 hours of my life and sanity. So, if you also don't think it's cheating, I will link the website in the description just below the link to my Twitch channel. Wink, wink. I caught a Feebas, planted enough Raz and Chesto Berries so that I had at least 12 of each, came back the next day, picked them, and I went to the Heart Home Poffin Center. Now, without this method, yeah, Feebas, finding it's an issue. But there's really no way to grease Milotic. Basically, in this gen, you can either roll the dice in the underground and try your luck at finding a prism scale in the walls. Some people have found it on their first try, and some people have spent 8 hours. But at this point, I was just so burnt out on that option. Instead, I opted for baking tasty treats. So the gameplay of this unfortunately got corrupted because I ran out of space, but basically here's what I did. You put 1 Raz and 1 Chesto Berry into the machine per session. You follow the spinning instructions, not too slow, not too fast, and when it goes purple, you crank it and boom, 2 dry Poffins. Assuming you don't suck at cooking Poffins, they're usually gonna come out at about level 18 and above, and this should take 10 to 12 tries overall. That'll give you 20 to 24 Poffins to feed to your Feebas. Just keep stuffing it down that fish's throat, and once it won't eat anymore, boom. Give it a rare candy, and you now have 1 Milotic. Easy breezy, Cynthia's team is almost done. Now, sadly, because of the corruption, I also can't show the rest of the whole Team Galactic business, but it's probably for the best. There is literally a dude here with a level 30 Wurmple. So yeah, it went about as easily as you'd expect. Anyway, my next recording resumes at the final gym, and guess what I now have? A Garchomp with Earthquake. You want to take a guess at how this gym went? And as you can see, bad for its health. And boom, just like that, ladies and gentlemen, we procured our 8th and final gym badge. Time for the moment you've all been waiting for. The really long section before the Elite Four. I gotta be honest with you, this section was actually much needed. Milotic and Spiritomb were still really under-leveled because we got them so late, so I just didn't use repels through here, and that got the team leveled up to somewhere between 62 and 59, which to me anyway felt just right to take on the Elite Four. Also, just to make things a little bit harder, I decided we would make this run a no item challenge. So, challenger number 1, Aaron, bug type. I gotta be honest, while Aaron does have some really interesting setups, his team just suffers a lot from fire Pokemon. I had Garchomp pretty much roast his entire team with Flamethrower. The only thing that gave me trouble here was his Drapion, which is almost guaranteed to crit. It's actually a pretty cool strategy, and it did actually manage to take down my Garchomp. But we had Dorito come in and finish off Garchomp's dirty work. But you dead! Next up is this lady named Betty, and if you have a grass Pokemon, this is the easiest member of the Elite Four. Here's why. Caesar Sweep! It really do be that easy. Up next we have Flint, and at this point, I was starting to feel the pressure come on. No, I'm just kidding. Like, I am Cynthia, and this team is awful. Now, in seriousness, Lucian is really strong, and this was the first challenging fight I had had in a while. So he starts with Mr. Mime, which can set up Reflect and Light Screens. Normally it will last 5 turns, but because it has Light Clay, it takes that all the way up to 8. Psychic Pokemon are traditionally very strong with low defense, so this is a really good way to round out his team and basically make him unstoppable. The Mr. Mime is part fairy, so the plan for me was to try and one-shot it with Lucario's Meteor Mash. But I gotta say, Mr. Mime is really tanky, and he absolutely ate that shot. So it did manage to get the light screen up, but we quickly finished it off before it could set up Reflect. 4-6 for me. He went Medicham, and because I'm Steel type, I was predicting a fighting move, so I swapped into Spiritomb. That did nothing, and from here, I thought because Spiritomb is just so bulky that I would eat his shots, but he wrecked me. So then I swapped to the bulky Milotic, and he wrecked me. It was really mean to my Gastrodon too. I knew I had to halt this momentum, so we swapped to Big Daddy Garchomp, and he ate that thing up. He then ate Alakazam and the Girafarig too. Yeah, turns out Garchomp is really strong. As I said, Who would have guessed? Now, Garchomp then fell to Bronzong, and it was a 3-1 matchup. While that sounds easy, it was not. The Bronzong had Trick Room up, which made it outspeed all of my Pokemon. It was going to one-shot my 2 other Pokemon, and the only option I had was Caesar. In a very weird choice, they didn't actually give Bronzong a psychic move, so he was okay to go in and fight. He clutched it with a few Giga Drains to win us the Elite Four. Oh! Okay, dude, Roserade's cracked. We love Roserade. Let's go. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. What started as a small child who just wanted to be Cynthia, we have grown up to become a slightly bigger child, and we now sort of are Cynthia. Sure, we don't have the broken EV training or the competitive moveset, but the question still begs to be asked. Can you beat Cynthia's team with Cynthia's team? Well, on my first attempt, the answer was no. So first run, I just vastly underestimated her Spiritom's bulk, and I also vastly overestimated my Lucario's bulk. I was gonna go for this weird Combine setup. It didn't work at all, died, and that basically ruined my entire plan. So we did a quick reset on that and went again, but this time for real. I wasn't messing around. To start things out, we let Garchomp do a Swords Dance. Spiritomb couldn't do a whole lot to us, so we got greedy and we hit another Swords Dance. I then Earthquaked her Spiritomb. She went Milotic, and I Earthquaked her Milotic. She went Lucario, and I Earthquaked her Lucario. Like, I gotta say, how funny is this? Like, literally just using the thing that Cynthia always does against her? I thought I was a genius. But her Roserade. So in this game, with the whole, like, way more good Cynthia, her Roserade has a maxed out speed EV. And I couldn't believe it, but even with the level difference, Roserade outsped and killed Garchomp with a dazzling gleam. So, Gastrodon, Lucario, Spiritomb, Roserade, and Milotic versus the real Cynthia's roided to the moon competitive moveset, Roserade, Gastrodon, and of course, Garchomp. This was about to be good. Here's how it went. Idiot. Oh my god. I don't deserve that. I literally don't deserve that. I literally do not deserve to be on this planet right now. What was I thinking? Dude, I'm literally so stupid. Big. I hate Garchomp so much. Do I just hit it with a Dazzling Gleam? Or would it be smarter to risk a Stun Spore? Because if we hit the stun, we can still get a Dazzling Gleam off. Probably gonna kill us. Yes! Woo! What happened there is it was in kill territory, but it was just dependent on the roll, and it didn't get a high enough of a roll, so that's what happened there. Should outspeed, but no, because Garchomp is actually just insane. That is ridiculous, but kind of expected. I'm asking very big things of you, Cheese. Please tank it. You're so beefy. Yes. You're so beefy, buddy. The para is still in play, but I think we're gonna get outsped. Kind of needs to come down to a lucky para or a lucky tank here, but we'll hit the Ice Beam. Oh, Milotic. That's a lot of damage. Beware the Milotic. Oh my god, I hope this isn't a speed tie. Yes, yes, yes. Woo, ladies and gentlemen. So after all that, it turns out you can in fact beat BDSP as Cynthia. Thank you guys so much for making it all the way through. If you did enjoy, subscribe. We're a brand new channel, and go follow me on Twitch to catch these live. Peace.